is everybody? So anyway, I promised you guys I would do a video telling you where I've been and what's been going on in my life physically. And I actually did make that video, but I posted it over on my other channel, Coffee with Tami. There should be a link. I'll try and put a link. It's easy to find. I'm the only one with that title. On what has physically been going on with me. Also, I just did another Temu box. I don't know if I'm going to post it here. I might, but today's video is about RV life. Believe it or not, I know it's been forever, right? What you guys don't know, first of all, go get yourself some coffee, some tea, a soda, a shot, whatever rolls your oats, and let's sit down and have a heart-to-heart. I've never been one to pull punches. Y'all know that. I have spent the last year and a half, except for a few months, boondocking. And I'm sure some of you might have even seen me out. I've ran across a few YouTubers. Not that I signed up for their channels or nothing. I am pretty much a loner. I travel alone. I don't travel in groups. I don't plan to meet up anywhere. If somebody's leaving and they want me to go, I tell them no. I pretty much do the 14 days or the limit wherever I set up, because first of all, if you watch the other video, I do have a shattered hip, and once I set up my camp, I keep that camp until I have to go. On occasion I have to go into town during that time, but I don't have to pack everything up. So, yeah, I am a true nomad in the meaning that when I go somewhere, if there's a 14-day stay, I stay. Just saying. I had cows running into my van the last time I was out, and I stayed. I just got out my big old walking cane in case they came to attack me, not my van. But being a person who has had a Class C, I started out in a Class C, and then I had a Class A, and now I have a minivan. I've been a nomad in all of them. So I want to compare some of, and I'm going to group the Class A and the Class C together as RV living and a minivan. I can't even add a minivan to a large van because of the size comparison. So yeah, so this is about minivan life compared to RV life and the differences, and to me, the harder one. So my van is a 2013 Grand Caravan. It's a female. Its name is Noah. She's dark blue. I wish she was white, but she's not. Most of the time she's brown. Depends on where I'm boondocking. Yeah, I've taken both rows of seats in the back out. My third row is out, and the seats right behind my driver's seat, my passenger seat, are out, and they were stowaways, stow and goes. So I have extra storage there. It was the only way I could really find, not even to get stuff that I wanted, stuff I needed, because when you move into a minivan, you're down to necessities. Absolutely. So there are a lot of things to consider moving into a minivan, especially once you've had an RV. I mean, my Class C and my Class A was like an apartment. The Class A was like I had a one-bedroom apartment. Even the Class C, and it was a 30-footer, and it was like having a one-bedroom apartment. So when you move into a minivan, it's like having a closet. A closet. In my minivan, and not only did I take out my seat, so I have that underneath parking, I rebuilt the floor so it's even, because in a Grand Caravan they go at a slant from the back to the front and it's about a 2 to 3 inch difference. So if you put your bed in, it's at a slant, anything you put in is at a slant. So I leveled out my floor, and that took away about 2 inches or more toward the bottom. And so I had to allow for that. And when I built my bed at exactly 12 inches high, which I still, getting in a tie and height ponytail, high and tight ponytail is almost hard, impossible, sitting on my bed in my van because my head rubs the ceiling. And that's the reason I made it 12 inches tall, was because my bins are 12 inches tall, and I store a lot of stuff underneath. My refrigerator for my car is at 11 inches tall, so I needed that height. My coolers, you know, I don't really carry coolers anymore, but if I do get a nice cooler, they're usually 12 inches tall. So I am able to store a lot of stuff and have room. With that being said, I want to get into things we take for granted in an RV that you cannot take for granted in a minivan. First of all, bed. You have got to make your own bed. You guys, I did everything I could to stop from having to build my own bed. I bought cots, camp cots. I bought a chair that folded out, and it was memory foam. Nothing worked. I had to build my own bed, custom build it to fit my van and what I had to go into that van. So, yeah, I am 5'5", so my bed is exactly 5'5" long. So I actually have room at the bottom of my bed to put storage, you know. And on top of that, my TV, because I carry a 24-inch smart TV with me when I camp. Sure do. And it works. So, but anyhow, you have to make your own bed. Pretty much, you have to make your own bed. You can't just buy it off the shelf. You have to be creative. You have to go watch some YouTube videos, find the one you can make, and fit it accordingly. I didn't make mine, but 26 inches wide, which was just a little less than half of my room in the back. I think I have 60 inches, something like that, width in the back of my van. So that kind of gives you that idea. So with that being said, now we're going to talk about differences and the stuff you have to have. You've got to have. Okay, bottom line. Okay, so when we first start out, we're just going to start out with a necessity here, a shower. You know, when I was in my RV and I would camp for 14 days, I'd park for 14 days in one spot. Yeah, I was in that shower 2-3 times a week. Now, I took my grandmother called it a whore bath, washing the necessities in my feet, my face, brushing my teeth. I took a wet bath, a dry bath, I guess you would call it, every day, except for the days I crawled into the shower, but never had to think about privacy. I didn't have to think about, how am I going to hook this up? How am I going to have warm water? None of that. It was available to me. When you are living in a minivan, yeah, you're either going to Planet Fitness, a truck stop, you're hooking a shower and a pump up outside of your van. Sometimes you have to even put a makeshift shower curtain around you, or buy a toilet tent, which 90% of them blow down. You have to figure out how to shower, how to keep your body clean. And it's really hard because you get really dirty out there. I mean, I shower in the morning and I was filthy by the nighttime. And then I would usually have to do a wipe down anyway. And that's your next alternative, is fill a basin full of warm water, which you have to cook. You have to heat it up, and washing out of there, and then emptying that out and putting rinse water in. So what goes from being a 10-minute shower, 15-minute shower, including shaving your legs and your pits, goes to being a real theatrical pain in the ass. Okay, but we have to be clean. You know, we have to be clean. So a shower is something, as an RVer, you take for granted. As a person who dwells in a minivan, you don't take that for granted. You can get solar showers you hang in a tree, but let me just tell you, they don't drain that well. They don't work that well. And I used them when my kids were little. But you can do that. But if you're in a place, and some of these places are so crowded, you guys, you have to have something around you where people can't see you. Because when y'all want to wash my body, I don't want a bathing suit on. Come on. Those are kind of some of the areas that need washed. You know what I mean? So yeah, you still have to make makeshift shower curtain. So number 1 on my list is RVs. Don't have to worry about your shower. Hot water, where the water's going. Privacy. In a minivan, you do. You absolutely do. So we're going to stay in the same room. And we're going to go to the potty. Now, we all have black tanks in our RVs. And gray tanks. Your shower drains into your gray tank. But so does the water you cook with. And the water you wash your dishes with. If you wash your clothes. All drains in there. Also comes out of your gray tank. When you are living in a minivan, you have no gray tank. And you have no water supply. You're responsible for that. Now I have a big 5-gallon blue jug that I use as my gray water to do dishes, to bathe with, to clean with, and then I buy my drinking water. Yeah, and I know that in my RVs I still bought drinking water, but I also know that there are apparatuses you can hook up that your water is cleaned for you, filtered. Not that when I had an RV I trusted them, I still bought my bottled water. So you're also making room for this water, because my 5-gallon water bucket, my gray tank water, it's huge, it's tall, and it's heavy, especially for a broken person. And then you've got 5 or 6 gallons of water for drinking, and maybe bottled water, because I like to make powdered Gatorade, you know, stuff like that. Beats carrying 12 Gatorade bottles at a quart. So it's all about making room for what you need. And I don't want to go into town every 2 days, every 3 days. If I'm there for 14 days, I maybe want to make one extra trip into town before I have to leave. When I was in an RV, I didn't move at all. I stayed until it was time to go. And then I went into town and did my tanks, filled my tanks, did my gas, did my laundry. I did all of it in one day, and then found a new home. A new front yard is like I call it. So not only do you have to prepare for this potty, you have to be able to carry potty stuff. Now, there's several ways. I have a shovel that I can make a cat hole with. I have a foldable potty chair that I can put over that hole. But again, I don't know if you've been out lately, but these boondocking spots are packed. I mean, bumper to bumper, people are breathing down your neck. It's like living in an apartment complex. You can't have privacy if you wanted it, you know. So going to the bathroom, it's a real pain. That extra room you have in your minivan, you might well be setting up your potty in there with a trash bag. Try and get the biodegradable ones, guys, by the way. So it's easy if you in a private enough spot and you can dig a cat hole and just put your chair over it. But if you're not, you have to utilize that potty, and you have to know where and how to discard of it, where to store it until you can discard of it. Now, you know, this is really gross, but I'm just going to do it. Storing your own waste for more than a day or two is not pleasant. So I came up with a way. I got an airtight container, and I would put my refuse bags in that airtight container until I went back to town and could dump it. Yeah. And step back when you open it. Just saying. Now, to go number 1, go pee. Okay, we're adults here. To go pee, I had to use a pee can. First I used a pee cup, and then it was transferred into a pee can. And then it was transferred into one of my used water bottles, because you really don't want to dump it on the ground. Although, I'm going to just be frank, as a teenager, and when we were out camping and partying in the desert, and you had to go to the bathroom, when we were driving from one town to another, if I told my dad I had to go to the bathroom, he pulled over the side of the road and we crawled out and went in the desert. Gets filtered, guys. But I know a lot of you are anal about that. So if you're anal about it, put your waste in a bottle and discard it when you discard your other barrel. Just saying. So it's a pain. to have to pee during the day and have to go into your van. I have a privacy curtain that I just pull across mine so I don't have to shut all the doors, put up all the, no. I have a privacy curtain that just covers my door. I go in there and do my business, come out. But it's a pain that I can't just go around the front of my van and drop my pants. Because there are times when I'm secluded enough I can do that. And I really enjoy those times. Because that's a lot of hassle off my lifestyle. But when you're living in an RV, you don't even think about it. But those people living in them minivans, even maybe even the full-size vans for all I know, they have to take care of their own waste. And to none of us, there's not one person I've ever watched on YouTube who lives in a van, be it a minivan or a full-size van, that doesn't talk about how they have to discard of it. And you know what? I don't watch Bob, but Bob had a really good point. He said if the trash can is good enough for my dog's feces and my kids' dirty diapers, it's good enough for me. I agree, Bob. Just saying. I'm just saying. Nobody's ever complained about dirty diapers in a trash can. Or dog poop in a bag. They'd rather you pick it up and throw it in a trash can than leave it laying on the ground. So let's just be real here and get the prima donna out of our ass. Because there's facts. And facts are facts. So I think that it's much harder to live in a minivan when you have to shower and use the restroom. Those are just the top two. Dishes! Okay, I got really lucky. I don't know if it's here. Let me grab this real quick. Oh, gosh. Sorry, guys. I should have got this. I didn't think I was going to bring it out. I try to find the smallest stuff that I can when I'm boondocking. Because, again, I live in a minivan. I have limited space. But I have found some stuff that is amazing. It's like a collapsible bowl. This is my dish sink. My dish sink. Okay? And I have a collapsible dish drainer. And they're this thick. Put them anywhere. That's my kitchen. I have a collapsible table that I set my ketchup on. When I wash my dishes, I set them to the side. I rinse my dishes. I put them in the drainer. They sit there to dry. Everything's put up later. So, in a minivan, I mean, in an RV, you've got that already. You might have to buy a dish drainer, okay? But you have the running water. I have to heat my water to wash my dishes. Not to rinse them, I use cold. But to wash my dishes, I have to heat my water. That's just how it goes. Then I gotta buy that biodegradable soap. And I use vinegar water. If I can use vinegar water on my dishes first, and then put them in a lightly soaped water, biodegradable, then discarding my water isn't hazardous to the world. And none of these save the world freaks can get down on my shit. But if you don't have the ability to wash your dishes, always, I don't care if you do have the ability, always have a bottle of vinegar water. Because it cleans everything but grease, guys. Everything. It sanitizes. So that's how I do my dishes. In an RV, you don't have to worry about hot water. It comes out. You don't have to worry about draining it. It goes into the gray tank. You have to worry about all that when you are in a minivan. Because when you're in a van, you have to discard your water after every use. Where if you're in an RV, it goes into your gray tank until you dump it into a sewer. So, yeah, something to think about. Something to think about. And these are awesome. Collapsible bowls, cups, all that stuff, you guys, is the shiz on the knit. Yeah, invest, especially if you're in a minivan. Especially if you're in a minivan. Okay, onward. Woohoo! Okay, so, refrigerator. You know, I have a refrigerator. Yeah, I have a 12-volt refrigerator. It runs by battery. It runs by cigarette lighter. It runs by plugging it into a house. It's not a great big one. I don't need a great big one. But I have a refrigerator. It does use solar. I have to have some kind of electricity because I'm not hooked up to shore power in the middle of nowhere. So my refrigerator requires that I have battery banks that are charged so that while I'm charging other ones, my stuff stays cold, because if you run out and you haven't recharged just one battery, you're not going to have cold anything. You're going to lose a lot of food, cold food, you know, especially if you're using cheeses or milks or anything like that. Yeah, so refrigerating is very important. Now, I don't have a great big car one. I got a 340, one of my power banks are 340. It'll last me like 20 hours. But then I also have two 200 watters that I use while I'm charging the 340. That way my refrigerator on econo is constantly running and keeping my stuff cold, so I don't lose my food. But not only did I have to invest in that car refrigerator, which comes in an RV, and it comes propane or electricity. Not only did I have to invest in that, I had to invest in solar panels and power banks, and enough to take care of my needs, including running my little refrigerator 24/7. So, yeah, just saying. It's something in an RV comes natural. Like I said, you can use propane gas when you're out boondocking. You can use shore power when you're in an RV park. Storage. Now let me tell you, my Class A and my Class C had so much basement storage, and that's what I call it. Basement storage. I know my hair. Basement storage, where outside the flaps, I call that the basement. I had so much storage, you guys, in my Class A and my Class C. It was like, again, living in an apartment. When I moved into my Class C, my very first home on wheels, I didn't have to get rid of a whole lot. Mostly furniture, because they're furnished. But I had storage for everything. In a van, you don't. That's thus me removing 2 rows of seats and using the stow and go area as storage. Making my bed tall enough where I could get my storage bins under there. And making the back of my van my kitchen. I face everything that has to do with my kitchen, because I got the plastic sliding drawers. If you open the back of my van, those drawers are facing out. I keep my stove there. I keep my food there, my gray water there. I keep my bowls and my everything, silverware, pots, pans. I mean, that's my kitchen. You know, I don't access my kitchen from inside my van. So on rainy days, it sucks. Just saying. I keep cold coffee for rainy days. I'll just be really truthful. But my kitchen's in the back. It's facing the back. When I open my back, there's my kitchen. So anyway, storage is really everything that you do in a minivan, you have storage in your mind, because you have to have stuff. You have to have clothes. You have to have toilet paper, paper towels, Kleenex. You have to have silverware, whether you're using plastic or real plate. You have to have cookware, pots, pans. You got to have your wash bowls. You got to have your strainers and your spoons to stir and flip and fry. And you got your cooker. I have a Coleman propane butane. I have a Coleman butane stove, 1 burner, but that's part of my kitchen, you know. So, and a table. I have a cook table. The same table I use as a wash table. When I'm cooking, it's where I put up my stove, my pots, my pans, my prep. That's what I cook off of. It's also broken down. 4 legs come off it. It's flat. It's 5 inches thick. That's it. So storage is always in the back of your mind when you're living in a minivan. When you're in an RV, not so much. You really don't have to worry about it. Like 14 days worth of food. When I had my RVs, I never worried about my 14-day worth of food supply. Now, when I'm in my minivan and I have to go get 14 days supply, actually I try to go into town every 7 days, no matter if I'm staying 14, because there I got refuge, I got waste I have to get rid of. So I try to buy 7 days worth of food, but still, you know, you got to figure out where to put that water. You got to figure out where to put the bottled water and the Gatorade and everything that you need to store your bread, your bagels, your whatever you're going to cook. You have to find room for this stuff, guys. And storage is at a minimum. Living in a minivan just is. Okay, I talked about solar. Solar is probably one of the most expensive parts of my setup, my boondocking setup that I have. I put a lot of money in it between my solar panels and my battery banks. Yeah, and I could use some more, to be really truthful. And I have fans that run on a USB, so I can use my power banks, lights that run on my USB. That stuff's expensive. My refrigerator, my TV, all that stuff. My vacuum that I vacuum my car with. I know I should get one that is battery operated. They just don't last long enough. By the time I'm really into it, it dies, and then I don't care if I finish it. But you spend a lot of money in solar. Now, I did buy me a little generator, the 1.1 gallon generator, but I have to tell you, it's just easier to put your solar out every day. Because if you have you can't carry your generator in your minivan with gasoline in it. Let's just be real. When it's outside, it can't be out in the direct sun. It's got to be covered by shade. You don't want to just leave it out there. You're going to have to chain it down. Just saying. Just saying. So, and then you have to carry gas cans. Can't have that gas in your van. It just wasn't feasible for me to have that little bitty generator. I don't have a rack on top of my van, so it wasn't like I could even put it up on the rack. So I got rid of the generator and just went on solar. But you will spend some money on your solar and the stuff that will run off your solar. And because you're always wanting something that takes up as little as that energy that you saved in those solar banks as possible. And that brings me to an AC. When I had my RV, I had a huge generator, 6500. I could run my AC and 3 other ACs at the same time. If I was in the middle of the desert and it was 90 degrees in my RV, I'd just turn the AC on for a little bit. Turn the generator on. Go watch TV. Now, my solar runs my TV. My AC is fans. That's it. That's why I chase the 70s. But there are times in summer you can't even find 70s in Arizona. Cold is in the 80s. So I put fans in the windows. And if it gets real hot, I put a cold wash rag on my head. You do what you have to do living in a minivan. Living in a van, easy access. And most of your RVs already come with your generator. Just turn that puppy on. Now, I do have to say, one good thing is not paying for the gas to run your generator. Saying. I don't have to pay gas to run a generator, but then I don't have an AC either. If it gets hot, it gets hot. I don't have a heater, so if it gets cold, it gets cold. It's called put on some extra blankets and clothes. Absolutely. Yeah, I really gave this a lot of thought because I thought this is really important when people are deciding if they're going to go live a nomadic life. And some of us can't afford to go back out and buy an RV. Not the prices today. And some places are making you sign waivers that you won't live in them. It's none of their business what I do with my property. The way I look at it. So I wouldn't buy from them just because I don't feel it's their business. I shouldn't have to guarantee anybody I'm not going to live somewhere. It's none of their business. If I'm buying that property, it's mine to do with what I feel. So, yeah. So when we talk about, when I was sitting there thinking about what life was like as an RVer and what life is like as a minivaner, van dweller, there's a very big difference. Living in a minivan is way harder. It's way harder. Better on gas. I'm in my RVs. I got 9 miles to the gallon. In my van, I can get up to 26, 27 miles to the gallon. So, yeah, the tires for my van are $100 each. In my Class A, they were $1,000 each. So there's less maintenance and less cost living in a van, but in a minivan. But it's way harder, you guys. Way harder. Stuff you need to think about. Things you need to prepare for. And learn how to pack that van as good as you can. As good as you can. And buy a tent. I have a tent that I use as my living room, dining room, coffee room, you know, especially if it's nice out. Now, if it's windy, I had to tear one down in the wind one day, and that was no fun. And it's been really windy this year. This winter was a miserable winter. But, yeah, buy a tent. Have yourself an outside living room if you're living in a minivan, shelter, something you can sit outside and be comfortable. Because where I boondocked this year, there was no shade trees this winter. And when I just left, the day I left boondocking to come in for hospital issues and doctor issues, it was 90 degrees that day. So it means inside my minivan was probably about 110 to 20. Because it gets really hot in there. And that's even with, I put up a screen door. You know, I have a screen door on my slider, you know, where I can just put the screen up and keep it open, but it still gets very hot in there, you guys. It made my little refrigerator run. I used more solar because my refrigerator was hot as well. So, yeah, get an outside tent. Just, you know what, it's nice to get up. And you know what, the privacy thing too. You know, you can use the bathroom in there and put the toilet and the mess outside. You know, instead of having to try and get in and have a 4 foot by 6 foot space to try and set up your bathroom. Just saying. That's about the room you'll have. So your bed. We touched on the bed in the beginning. In an RV, your bed is provided. You know, some of them, if you buy them used, you still got to buy a mattress. No big deal. It's a general size mattress. It's a queen size, and they make them all the same size. When you own a minivan, they're all made different. They all have this niche and that niche, and most of them are plastic inside. Don't think you're going to be putting up any wood on any walls. No, not unless you tear it down to the bare metal. You're just not. It's plastic. You know, it's really hard. The overhead is fabric. You know, it's really hard to section it out, to cover it, to build around it. I think that's why most of the minivans are soft builds. Just saying. So your bed is provided. You know, it just is. When I built my bed, I was looking for floor space. I have a little stool that I can actually sit on. That's not so tall that I hit my head on the ceiling of my van like I do. I'm sitting on my bed or my camp chair. If I take it in there, I hit my head. I need something that I can sit on, that I can brush my hair, be able to move around, watch a little TV, you know, have some room, you know, so I'm not always so packed in like a sardine, because eventually that's what you feel like, a sardine, a lonely sardine. Oh my God. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is, there's other stuff we could talk about in the differences between living in a van, a minivan, and living in an RV. I don't care what, A, B, C, don't matter. There's a lot of differences. There are a few good points to living in a minivan, like I mentioned, gas prices, tire maintenance prices. But my van has less clearance than an RV. My minivan has very little clearance. So I used to take my RVs all through the desert. Not a problem. Never bottomed out. Noah, I have to be careful how I go in. There's times I have to go in sideways at a slant and go this way and that way, not to bottom out. And it's really hard, because if you look at most of your minivans, they don't have a lot of clearance. And so that's another thing that I want to talk about, is I want you, before you First of all, making the decision to be nomadic is huge. That's a huge decision because it's our nature. Most of our, not mine, most people's nature to have a home. Most of us are raised in homes. So it's our nature to have a home to go home to. Camping is something you do for a weekend. When you decide to be nomadic and live out of your vehicle or your RV, that is a huge decision. And you start planning months in advance. But when you move into a minivan, it's even more. You guys, when I was going through my clothes, and I kid you not, when I was moved into my minivan full-time last year, by the way, I've been pretty much living in my minivan for a year and a half. I've only been out of it for a month or two here and there over health issues. And again, Coffee with Tami tells you those health issues. But I even went to the hospital in Ehrenberg, in the middle of nowhere. Here comes an ambulance to pick me up because I was so sick, I was dehydrated, my body quit working, I couldn't walk. And they had to take me to Blythe and make me well enough to walk. Left my little house in the middle of nowhere. So it's something you have to think about, you guys. You make that big decision to be nomadic. Make a decision about what you're going to live in, not only according to your finances, but according to what you can personally handle. I'm not somebody who likes crowded spaces. And I watch these people who put their minivan builds up on YouTube all the time, and I'm like, where's their pots and pans? Where's their toilet? Where do they put their clothes? Where do they store their water? I mean, yeah, they look pretty, but where's all the stuff you need to survive? You know, where's your blankets? Where's your pillows? Your pots, your pans, your silverware, shoes, hats, gloves, trash, dirty laundry. This is all stuff you have to carry around with you. And then your dirty laundry becomes clean laundry, and you have to have some place to put it. So when I look at these van builds, soft van builds are what they're called, I often look in there and go, where's everything? I seen some guy who had a van just like mine. He'd taken out the seats, and he claimed that the two storage areas behind the driver's seat and the passenger seat, he had all this stuff. There's not that much room there, you guys. Now, I was looking at it going, he's got the same year van that me? Same exact van. How is he getting all that in there? No. You know, so when you look at these van builds, look at them, have open eyes. Where are they storing their stuff? Are they even bothering to tell you? Do you see one that is so organized and well set up that you're in awe? It's beautiful. Well, wait a minute. What's it look like lived in? You can't tell me that all you got is a refrigerator back there and your power banks and a bed. No. And then someone bragged about, I don't put anything up in the front seat. I'm like, that's my storage for my water. You know, I just want you guys that when you see a van build, critique it. Where do they put this? Where do they put that? I watched one girl who, in the same van that I have, put her bed long ways instead of from back to front or front to back. She put it from door to door. No, because you can't get to the handle to open it unless you have an electric door. And not only that, I'm only 5'5". I couldn't fit. My feet were hanging off. So if you want to stretch out, you can't. So when you watch these van builds, soft van builds, think with an open mind. How do they get in and out? Where do they put their garbage? Where's their dirty clothes? Where's their food supply? Where's their water supply? Where's their batteries? Where's their solar? I mean, their groceries, their trash. Everybody has trash. You know, I mean, there are places you can burn, paper trash. You still got cans, waste. I mean, still stuff you can't burn. So look at it objectively and say, is this facts or fiction? Because a lot of times, and I've been saying this on my channel for years, a lot of what they put out there is fiction. I've lived in my van for 1.5 years. It's been a hard 1.5 years. I did it. You can do it. But don't believe everything you see. Don't go out spending money thinking that the bed that goes from slider door to slider door is going to be long enough for you. Or if it is long enough for you, how much room are you going to have to get into your van if your bed comes out 26, 28 inches? Your door's only 30 inches wide. Think about it. Think about it, people. You know. And if you have a rack on top of your van, right on, because at least you can get an outside carrying, you know, to go on top. But this stuff you have to think about. Do it with an open mind. Do it objectively. And think about some of the stuff I've talked about. You're going to have to buy a potty. There's no way around it. You're going to have to buy a shovel. About a little bitty camp shovel. No big deal. You're not going to carry firewood. You're not going to carry gasoline. You're not going to carry a generator. Not unless you have somewhere outside to carry that stuff. And with so little clearance, even if you put a rack on the back of your van to carry your generator and your gasoline, it's going to bring the back down and make your clearance even less. Think about it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video today. I gave you something to think about. Food for thought. For reals. Food for thought. The minute I moved in my RV, I loved the lifestyle. I still love the lifestyle. Right now, I'm in a home base only for medical reasons. If you go watch, you'll find out why. I have mental, yeah, I know some of you really think I'm crazy, but I have been cleared by a psychiatrist. PTSD, yes I have. OCD, yes I have. You know, ADHD, yeah, absolutely. Nobody's perfect, nobody functions right. The fact is I'm well enough, I don't have to be on medications anymore, which caused a lot of weight gain and a lot of issues in my life. Because I think that extra weight helped tear down the rest of my bones. So, yeah, am I physically healthy? I'm working on it. You know, I have to have surgeries. Have to. So anyway, run on over there. You'll find out what the physical issues are. I do want to do a video on the mental issues. Yeah. And dental. You'll notice I'm missing even more teeth than I did before, because my partial broke and then an anchor tooth fell out. I just had 2 teeth pulled over here. You can see it's still kind of swollen. And now I'm in the process of finding a dentist to make my partial and give me a filling, because I don't want a full set up front, up top, and I don't need them on the bottom. I have almost all my bottom teeth. So, yeah, you'll have seen me in a few videos here. Yeah, not a full set of teeth yet. Sorry. Anyhow, I'm also going to start doing videos about jewelry, costume jewelry. I will be selling it as I do the video. I'm going to start it over on Coffee with Tami. I might throw 1 or 2 up here, depending on how well it goes. Directions will be in the comments down below. I invite you to join me. I'm going to tell you guys, don't leave snotty comments. First of all, especially on this channel, there's only a few people that are even authorized to leave a comment without me reading it first, because I have so many trolls and haters, you know, just saying. And if y'all played nice, yeah, first of all, if you don't like me, or you don't like the fact that I'm pretty brutally honest, and I pretty much say what's on my mind, don't come here. If you don't like the person that I am, why are you watching me? I can't watch people on YouTube I don't like. I think that's hypocritical. That, or your life is so boring that the only thing you have to amuse yourself is by going out picking on creators on YouTube and any other place that has creators and causing chaos. And if that's the case, quit breathing my air. Just saying. Anyway, leave a comment if you're going to leave a nice one. I I have thousands of comments I haven't even read because truthfully, I don't have time for a troll to ruin my day. And if you're a hater, I don't have time for you either. Seriously. I'm not here, for the haters or the trolls. I'm here to try and help people discern the truth from the bullshit that can be put out on these videos. Have a great day. Remember to love yourself, because if you don't love and take care of you, you can't love or take care of anybody else, and that's a fact. Absolute fact. Love you, take care of you, and then go out and do something nice for somebody. Buy them a soda, take your friend to dinner, call somebody up and ask how they're doing. Being kind doesn't take a lot, you guys. Being a troll takes a lot more effort, really. So love yourself, take care of yourself. I'll see you in my next video. Peace out. Ciao.